In this segment, we're going to talk about some of the basic functions of the iPad. Up in the upper right corner, you're going to find a little power switch that when you hold it down for a few seconds, it's going to allow you to power the unit on, and it's going to come up to this particular screen, where at the bottom you've got this little slide to unlock. And so I can just take my finger and drag that across, and that's going to actually unlock the iPad and bring us to the standard desktop where you're going to see, several icons of different things. Now with the icons, you can just simply do a single tap with your finger, and that actually opens up the various icons. Now in this particular case, I just opened up the settings. This controls a lot of the things that, general settings like, the brightness and whether or not you want to lock the unit, if you want to mute the volume, set date and time. It's just a matter of clicking around into different things in here, and it will then display information on the right side that you can make adjustments and do different things. So maybe, also if you wanted to switch between, say, Wi-Fi connection and a 3G connection, depending upon where you were located, you have that ability in the settings. Once you've made your choices here, there's a button here at the bottom of the screen that's actually the home button. If we click on that, no matter where we're at on the unit, it will always bring us back to the desktop screen. So that's always a quick, jump right back to the home page, if you will. We're going to also use the Safari browser that's in the lower corner here, and that's going to allow you to get into various websites on the internet with your connection. So here's just a sample of a website that you may be using in this case with the various vendors for ordering. And I just want to go through some of the basic finger gestures that you might find helpful here in using this. First off, if I take just one single finger again, if I drag it up, it's going to actually drag the entire screen up that way. And sometimes I just want to scroll through a list instead of dragging it entirely. In that case, I want to use two fingers, because when I do two fingers, it actually allows me to scroll down this list of all these vendors up and down. So again, if I use one finger, it just drags the whole screen. But if I use two fingers, it actually allows me to scroll, which is a little bit nicer. I also have the ability of taking a couple of fingers, and if I go ahead and touch the screen and drag them further apart in a spread, I can actually make the text bigger. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag with one finger across here to the right, so I can actually see now that I've gotten all these different, much larger icons. I also can do what's called a pinch. I can pinch it smaller to make it a little bit smaller, and I even have the ability of just doing a double tap, which will take it back to the standard, normal size. If I go ahead though and make this a little bit bigger, I'm going to go ahead and just click on this diamond products area. Now that opens up and allows me to see now all these different products. I'm going to just make this the normal size again if I can. There we go. So you can see that the different products are in here. Now once again, if I use two fingers, I can actually have this drag up and down to see all these different products in the grid. I also have the ability of, let me go a little bit bigger here, and if I click on an item, it'll actually bring up a descriptive box for me, so I can see a little bit more information about that item in this case to make a decision. I just can tap to close that box as well. I also have the ability here to change quantities. I have a little minus and a plus key, so I can just tap on that once or twice and double my quantity. If I actually finger tap just on the field itself, it will bring up a keyboard at the bottom, and I can switch back and forth between letters and numbers depending on what I want to do, and I can actually put in quantities there if need be. There's a button in the lower right corner that will get rid of my keyboard and just drop it out of sight. And I can go ahead and just double click that again. Well, there we go. Pinch it back down to size. Now, if you turn the unit, right now we're in the vertical mode, but if you turn the unit, it'll actually switch your mode to a horizontal screen, and it just goes back and forth between the two. There is an ability in the settings area to actually go ahead and lock that so it doesn't turn like that, and then there's a switch over here on the side that when you switch it, you can actually lock it. So now I've locked it in the vertical mode now, and it won't switch to the horizontal. Actually, in this particular website, it's a little bit easier to use in vertical mode just because you can see more in the up and down area than you will when it flips to the side in the horizontal mode. Let's go ahead and go up here. There's a little bookmark area, a little bookmark. It looks like an open book on the toolbar. And here you can bookmark different websites and things like that. I just want to take us out to Google. And we'll just touch this screen here, and if I start typing in a website, I can select one of the recent ones from my list, and it's just a standard search. I also have the ability, if I wanted, if I go ahead and hold my finger down, right above my finger, it actually creates a magnifying glass. And if I move my finger across this way, I can actually move the cursor and see it a little bit better with the magnifying glass exactly where I want to drop it. So if I needed to make a change to the website, I could do that and make it a little easier for me to search through it that way. Once again, at any time, if I need to get back to the home page, I can simply click the button down here and it will take me right back to the home page. One of the things that's important to keep track of is up here in the upper right corner of the screen, there's a little icon for the battery, and it tells you the percentage of how much of the battery is left if it needs to be charged. Like mine's just under 50% now. It is a good idea that when you're not using the unit to shut it down and conserve the battery power in that case, but also the ability to charge it too. You should probably turn it off when you charge it, and to turn it off you just simply hold down the power button we talked about earlier just for a second. And it'll come up, and there's actually another slide bar that actually now says slide to power off, and then we just drag it across and that'll power the unit down. And once it's powered down, there is a cord that you have that just plugs into a regular outlet, and then this part plugs right down here into the bottom of the unit so that you can charge the unit overnight or when in the off hours that you're not using it. So that's the basics of the iPad, and hopefully you'll enjoy using it. Thanks.